So there's a misconception about Rocket's kit. Some people will say that the best part of his kit is the revive. Because every 45 seconds you can revive your teammates, give them 25 armor to be able to use, and also have a little blue boost pad that'll let you jump to... But they'd be wrong. Some would say it's his ultimate.
This is real firepower!
Because it gives you and your team a 40% damage boost and allows you to steamroll through people as long as you actually use the ult. But they would also be wrong. In my opinion, the best part of Rocket Raccoon's kit is his mobility. The ability to be able to wall climb, to be able to dash, and support his team from high up or get out of sticky situations is by far the best part of his kit, the thing that makes him the most unique in his kit, and the reason why I think that he succeeds in a lot of ways that other support characters don't. I'm Blacksmyth, I play a lot of Rocket Raccoon, and today I'm going to be making a movement guide for everybody who's trying to learn how to move and stay alive with Rocket. So for this video, I'm going to go over 3 different sections. I'm going to go through some beginner stages for everyone who's just being introduced to Rocket, and then I'm also going to do some advanced stuff for everyone who's been playing him for a little bit and want to unlock a little bit more to him. Then finally, I'm going to show you some quick practice things that you can do, so that way you can get the movement down prior to hopping right into a match. So let's start off with the basics. Despite being so small, Rocket actually has the same 6 meters per second movement speed as everybody else in the game. So despite the animation differences, you're going to be moving on par with everyone else. With exceptions to some characters like Black Panther, who move at 7 meters per second. Currently with the strategists in Marvel Rivals, there's not a whole lot of movement that you can get. Mantis has a speed buff whenever she's not hurt. Loki has an invis, but it doesn't increase his movement speed. He also has a swap, which is not a bad way of getting out of situations. You have to pre-plan it and strategize ahead of time. Adam Warlock is a sitting duck with one minor exception, being that he can fly around when he activates his passive. Luna Snow does move pretty fast whenever her passive is active, though it does take a second for it to actually activate, and you can't really strafe around too much with it without holding W along with it. She does have this slight jump that she can do, that she pairs with her passive, but for most situations where she's trying to escape an enemy, it's not quite going to be enough for her to get out of the situation. Cloak and Dagger does have a pretty good getaway with being able to fly around for a slight second and be able to be immune to damage. And while it is useful to be able to just fly up to a new area while also being unhittable, it also has a 12-second cooldown. And as soon as you reappear in another location, the DPS can just hop on you. Invisible Woman's double jump is actually super useful. The invisible part really saves your life in a lot of situations, but runs into the same issue as Luna Snow, not being able to reach certain heights. I'd say the closest person who has the ability to be able to get out almost as well as Rocket is someone like Jeff the Shark, because you can constantly be climbing walls and getting out of situations. However, I noticed for higher ranks, it's not as hard for people to be able to hit Jeff when he's in this form. So this brings us to Rocket and his dashes. He has 2 of them, and it goes on a 6-second cooldown whenever you use one. Dashing straight forward sends you 10 meters, for a combined total of 20 meters. And despite certain misconceptions, it doesn't matter if you are just dashing normally, or if you do a dash jump, you'll still wind up going 10 meters. Another benefit of Rocket is that you can dash straight up, which lets you get to a lot of places that other supports can't. Though in addition to your boosts, you can also infinitely wall climb. And in a lot of ways, you're probably going to want to use the wall climbing more than you'd want to use the boost. The boost is very clutch of being able to get out of situations that you don't want to be in. And finally, Rocket has this jetpack not only for boosting, but if you continue to hold your space or whatever your jump button is, you can softly glide down to the floor, which also helps you cover quite a bit of distance. Be warned about it though, you are moving very slow and it is very easy to hit a Rocket that is just gliding all around. One bonus tip for Rocket's mobility is that whenever you throw out your BRB, it'll also dispense these blue packs. They get shot out with your armor packs as well, but you'll notice that on my screen now I have this space option with a little boosted foot. If I double jump, I get launched very high into the sky very quickly. This is great for being able to get out of situations or just have more ability to use other parts of your kit for later. And the movement isn't exclusive to Rocket either. If anybody on your team picks up the blue pack, they can also do a double jump that sends them flying into the air. I've seen this be able to be used in combination with people like Winter Soldier to be able to grab people past shields, Moon Knight for being able to drop ult, or even characters who already have a bunch of movement, just be able to get that slight bit of an edge like a Black Panther or a Spider-Man. I'll probably do a different video as far as where I like to put my respawn beacons that optimizes the best area for your teammates to be able to respawn while you're also able to get the armor and boost packs. So make sure you sub for whenever that video comes up. We're also going to go into the settings for Rocket Raccoon. If you guys didn't know, at least for PC, if you go to settings and keyboard where it says all heroes here, you can have it changed to like whatever hero that you want. And every hero, I think every hero has like hero specific options and settings that you can mess with. So for instance, for Rocket here, you go to the hero tab and he has a bunch of different options here, right? Just for the movement's sake, some of the things I have on here is always hold to run on walls. If this is off, then what will wind up happening is that whenever you're going to be on a wall, it just holds there,
guys. Just what we
right?
need.
And that can usually wind up causing a lot of issues where you'll accidentally be on a wall when you're not trying to be. Like maybe you're trying to just float up, right? And then you'll accidentally grab onto the wall and it'll mess you up. So for me, I like having it held down so that way I can just quickly get off the wall. The direction of wall crawling, this one is kind of up in the air. I have some mixed feelings about it, especially for PC. So if you have it at its default, it's just going to go wherever you are. Like it's you using WASD to be on the wall, right? And there's a lot of good parts to that, right? For instance, one of the things that you can do as Rocket is that you can climb up and you can be in these really weird areas. And I can look around and see where everybody's coming from, especially on maps like the Venom map. I forgot what it's called. Especially the Venom map. You can be up on the wall and just like look down on people to be able to constantly evaluate what it is that you need to look at, right? I just find that there's a lot of weird quirks with it though, especially when it comes to hitting like corners. Like sometimes it just won't go it just won't, I don't know how to put it. Like it just kind of stops you, right? It just feels kind of weird. It does help in certain situations, like being able to wall dash a lot quicker because it's not reliant on your crosshair. So you can kind of instantly move off to the left-hand side, right? As opposed to like having to wait for your cursor to do that. And you can also keep an eye on your enemy. So there's a lot of benefits to this style. I just don't have it implemented for me personally. But it is going to be just personal preference, right? For me, I have it advanced towards crosshair, and that way it just like I can move in whatever direction kind of thing. I can even just hold spacebar without hitting any buttons, and it's just going to go to wherever my crosshair is looking, which for me is just a more comfortable way of doing it. It does come with like some drawbacks. Like if you want to be able to do things like this, you're gonna have to flick your mouse around a lot, but in a hero shooter like this, it's nothing really new for me. And I kind of just prefer having it go wherever my crosshair is. A couple of the other settings here, the hold to fall slowly.
Those guys are about to shoot at us.
If you don't have that on, then it's just going to be as soon as you hit the button, you're just going to start doing it. You can stop it and start it just by tapping. I just prefer to hold it down. I like having that level of control while I'm doing the things. Like my thumb wants to hit the space bar. It's just kind of hovering there and it feels kind of weird, right? So for me, I just have it hold on. The auto slow fall, I really don't agree with this because there's a lot of situations where doing this is not going to be beneficial, right? Like sometimes you just need to slow fall quickly, and having it where it's automatic for you, I feel like it's just going to cause a lot of hiccups, right? It's going to be like, oh man, I'm trying to dash away from this person, but I accidentally started slow falling, so I lost all my momentum. And then there's also hold to exit riding, which I have off. I like being able to just hop quickly onto my teammate.
Just say
so this is really talking about Groot, right? I can hop on him and I can hop off really quick. If I had to hold it down though, it's gonna be a lot longer of a time. So being able to hop on Groot is kind of it's not a great team up. Don't get me wrong. Like hopping onto Groot's shoulder is probably one of the worst team ups in the game. I think you get like a 10% damage mitt, but it's not worth it in a majority of situations, I find. Especially if you have an aggressive Groot player, like you're just asking to die at that point. The one thing that is beneficial, though, is being able to do some quick maneuvering, like be able to get out of situations really quickly. So for instance, if I turn off my cooldowns here, say that this guy's chasing me, I can quickly dash, hop on the group, and then dash even further. And that just gets me a little bit further, because sometimes they're just not walls, right? Sometimes you're not able to get to a wall. Or sometimes you need to be able to get just a little bit further. So you can hop on here, dash forward, hop on Groot, and dash away. And look how much further you were able to get because you were able to hop on Groot's shoulders. You know what I mean? I usually just use it as a free escape out of situations, and be able to hop off, like on and off really quickly, can honestly throw off the DPS so much sometimes. Because the Groot doesn't need to do anything for you to be on his shoulders, right? You're just able to hop on and off and confuse the DPS, right?
This is way more fun than it should be.
So, all right, we're going to move up a notch to a little bit more of the advanced tech. I've seen a lot of content creators talk about Rocket's wall boosting. Basically, they show this off that I showed you before with the blue packs. But they also show off the fact that if you just use a wall and climb up while boosting, you can use that to get even more height than what you'd normally do with a regular jump. This is him just boosting straight up. And then this is him wall boosting. You can see that this is obviously much higher than just a regular boost up. But what I don't see a lot of content creators talk about when it comes to Rocket is that goes for any direction, right? Say I'm having to move between this cover and this cover. Enemies are shooting me from this position. I would need to get over here to be able to help push with my teammate. I could boost twice to be able to get over here, but then that just leaves me exposed with no boost available, no matter what's coming around this corner. A better option would be able to use this wall to boost over. So I'm just going to hop on the wall, face that direction, and boost over to the other wall. You can see that gets me all the way over here to be able to help support my teammate, and I still have another boost left while the other one is still recharging. So if I need to be able to get out of here quick and boost upwards, or even hit this wall again to go back to the other wall, I'm able to swap between these cover points to try to keep myself alive, thus popping out more heals to be able to keep your teammates up. This isn't just with 4 directions. It's not just up. It's not just to the side. It's also at a slanted,
more bad guys. Just what we need.
Which can help you get up to places like this really quick. Which I imagine for a controller is probably even more control, because for me, you know, I have WASD. So the most I can do is either forward, left, or like slight angle while holding both. But I feel like when it comes to a controller, you're able to have a lot more mobility with that. Another thing I really like to do is be able to cycle between when I'm using my jetpack or not. So as I'm flying around, I'll just fall a little bit and I'll kind of swap in between here. It just makes me a harder target to be able to hit in the air. As long as I'm getting shot at, sometimes just having that little bit of movement is going to be able to save your life. Another tip with the wall boosting is that you don't need to be on the wall for long. You can legitimately just tap and boost up super quick. In a lot of instances, I'll be right up against the wall while I'm fighting people, and I'll quickly just do a tap boost to be able to get out of situations. If you do it correctly, it shouldn't even look like you're wall climbing at all. All I do is press space and shift almost at the same time, and it's a quick way to be able to get out of a sticky situation. I really like to combo this though for being able to get out of sticky situations. Like for instance, if I'm getting chased down by like a Black Panther or something right here, what I can do is I can get over to those stairs super quick
are about to shoot at us.
By doing a wall boost over here and then doing a wall boost over here. And this amount of distance that's covered is so hard for a majority of DPS to be able to keep up with, because they're going to think that you're going this way, and then you can make a decision whether you're going to the left or to the right or up or any direction that you want to be able to go to. The special thing about this that Rocket can do that other sports can't do is that he attracts the attention of those DPS, which means that the enemy DPS can't target your team. The DPS have a really hard time being able to take care of you if they can at all, especially if you're utilizing your wall climbing and maintaining your cooldowns on your boosts. You can ask any of your DPS main friends, you're a menace to try to take care of. But that's great. That's exactly what you're trying to do, right? Because you can also shoot out orbs while you're doing everything, right? So if you're trying to heal your teammates, you can shoot out a couple orbs, go forward, shoot out more orbs. You're still getting chased, and you're still doing this the entire time that the DPS is on you. It also allows you not to waste a lot of time when it comes to placing your beacons. If the battle is happening here and I need to throw out my BRB, putting it right here is not going to help out your teammates a whole lot because they're going to spawn right here. And if the enemy's already pushing up, they're screwed anyway, right? You could throw it behind you, but then the enemy flanking DPS that's coming to try to kill you or the other supports is just going to take this out as well. Being able to utilize things like the wall boosting to quickly throw your BRB up at the top to be able to then support your teammates again, it's just, it keeps you in the fight and it makes sure that your teammates are still in the fight. The last thing I mentioned before we move on to the next part is that Rocket's gun is held very low. Not only is Rocket a very short character, but Rocket holds his gun very low, right? So the whole play style is based around you getting up in the air to be able to support your team from all these ranges here. You'll have to watch out for a lot of situations where you're trying to heal your teammate or shoot an enemy. And you see right here, you'd imagine that you would be able to hit them because your crosshair's on them. But if you're shooting, you can see that your gun is way too low and it's hitting the floor instead. And it's the same thing with your heals. So being able to be up in the air allows you to support your team in the way that Rocket's able to do. The one thing I would say to look out for is that there's a bunch of these little ledges that you might not really notice when you're just walking around, but you will notice it whenever you're trying to do a wall boost, as you'll often just hit your head. There are some maps that are really bad with this, and it's worth keeping in mind, because not everything, like even though that you see this little tiny ledge right here, you might think it's the same thing, but you can see that's just a texture on the wall. It's not an actual object like this is. So you can wall boost off of that. But this, even this little tiny ridge right here that you can also just climb through. Like you can climb right over this thing, right? If you try to wall boost, you're going to hit your head on it. This just kind of comes with experience as far as you knowing what you can and cannot wall boost through. And you'll just pick that up with time. Because for instance, you can see that this has a little ledge as well that actually does stick out. However, if I try to wall boost, I'm fine. It's not until I hit this I actually stop. Utilize Groot, but don't rely on Groot. Another great way to be able to practice your movement is honestly just like hopping in one of these types of Doom matches, little practice Doom matches. Especially if you can just like come through, to take a couple shots at someone. Oh, there you go. Like find like a Wolverine or someone that can chase you down, and your whole focus is just to be able to escape them. Sometimes they'll give up. I just like to shoot them up a little bit and they'll chase me again, right? I'm just going to continue being a nuisance. Oh, where are you going, big boy? Whoop. And this type of movement is great because not only is it going to be able to help you with just learning how to stay alive, it's also going to help you learn how to use your weapon, which we can kind of go over in a separate type of video, more of like a guide kind of thing for Rock as a whole. But utilize this, utilize whatever you can to be able to survive in these situations. You have so many people completely against you, and you can just use all this little tech in these little tiny caverns to be able to evade enemies. Especially in little tiny areas like this, it's very easy for a Rocket to get caught out. So being able to do quick little maneuvers to be able to get out of sticky situations will be huge. There's not a whole lot of customization that you can do for the practice range right now. I really hope that in the future they have more like Overwatch style practice areas, how they had like the Mercy movement and Genji or Doomfist, stuff like that. It would be really cool if they were able to introduce that and then have creators like myself be able to make Rocket dedicated learning maps. Until then though, if you go into the practice settings and you turn on the no ability cooldown, it does exactly what it says. You have infinite dashes. And this is very useful for just learning how to get those things down, like how you get these little precision marks down, right? So if you want to try to learn how to be able, so if you want to try to learn how to do a quick wall dash, or if you want to be able to understand what timing you need to have to be able to dash off the wall sideways, this is where that's going to come into use. So having certain little practice things that you can knock out is very useful. Having certain little practice things that you can knock out is going to make you a better Rocket player. Say, for instance, you want to take this guy out. It's better to be up close and personal. So try practicing
I'm having a great time.
Wall boosting into being able to eliminate the target. So just a quick wall boost. And you'll find that Rocket is actually really effective doing against a lot of flying characters. I wind up taking out so many Storms and Iron Man players, it's insane. Just hop up, and you burn through people very quickly, especially if you're hitting all your headshots. it will burn through people so quick. And they're not expecting a flying raccoon. Never expecting a flying raccoon. You can also practice it on a little bit heavier of targets, so you can learn and maintain consistency while flying. Especially when you're experimenting with the with firing your weapon, having some more movement ability as well. So adding in a couple of dashes every now and then will just kind of keep you up in the air and learning how to maintain your height while also keeping up your damage and or heal potential. Another thing I would say is just in general, continue moving around the map, right? Don't ever stop moving whenever you're playing this character.
Down so they stay down.
You are a small little target, and the more that you move around, the less that the enemy's going to be able to take you out, and the more heals that you're going to be able to pump
Just
out.
what we need.
So just move around, see how the different like map areas affect Rocket's mobility. Then you can utilize that in the game to know, hey, okay, I can climb on this, but I probably won't be able to climb on that. Because in those little moments where you're getting chased down by a Black Panther, by Spider-Man, by whoever, you're not really going to know what it, like, you're not going to have an exact path for you to be able to go down, right? There's not just a one-way like secret to be able to getting out of situations. It's really just understanding the map and understanding your surroundings and how you can utilize the tools available to you to get out of that sticky situation. In general, though, being able to find ways to be able to stay in the air, to be able to help support your team is going to be very helpful. I'd say the only other thing is that because Rocket has such a unique ability to be able to get into high places, especially compared to other supports, utilize the fact that you can be up high to heal your team in situations where other supports would have to be on the ground and possibly getting flanked a lot more often. There have been so many situations where I can just be up here to be able to help support my team in the back, eliminating enemy targets just because I'm behind them or I'm up in the air and they're just not expecting me. So that covers all of Rocket's movement that I can think of. If I did miss anything, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'm sure that as this game progresses, there's going to be more and more things that people find out about this character, about all the characters, new things that they find out about maps and interactions. So if you guys wind up finding anything or have any updated information, feel free to leave that in the comments. Help each other out. You know, this whole thing is just for people to be able to learn to be better. Overall, this game is fairly new, and because of what the content style is, there are a lot of people who are coming in who are brand new to hero shooters and have no idea what they're doing. And that's okay. That's what these videos are here for. That's what building a positive community is all about. It's easy to be able to rage at people for not playing well, but if you take the time to be able to actually build them up and make them feel like they can do something, then it'll have a positive experience, enjoy the game more, and thus you'll enjoy the game more. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, this was a whole lot of fun to record, but it also took a whole lot of time. So feel free to hit all the little love buttons on the video. Subscribe if you want to be able to see more Rocket content or more content in general about Marvel Rivals. And either like tag a Rocket main that you know of or someone that you feel like should probably see this. You know, share this video around to different places. I see a lot of like standard Rocket guides, but I'd love to go really in depth with this character, because even though he's a 1-star difficulty, I really feel like there's a lot of nuance with him that a lot of people aren't utilizing very correctly. I'm going to be doing a lot of testing to really make sure we can refine out all the little details. So stick around for some more future videos, as well as some other gameplay stuff if you want to be able to check out all the things I talked about in actual high elo games. I appreciate it, and until next time, continue exploring, Smiths.